It was noontime today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace,
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass podcast with Sarah and Chuck. Today I got Sara Hathaway, author of the Changing Earth series. And so we actually met at prepper camp and last year and got to experience a little bit of Hurricane Helene there together. And it was a bit of a handful. Well, first, let's I don't know. Tell us about the books quick first. I know I kind of said no
Okay.
but let's see what we got.
Yeah, so the Changing Earth series is now a 10 novel series.
Wow.
The main series is book 1 to 8, and then I have 2 side novels. Everybody loved to hate my bad guy. That book is actually Swenson is actually free right now, I think, over on Amazon. And I think that promo is still going on. Yeah, so if you're listening now, get over there.
Get it while you
And
can, huh? Yeah.
yeah, get it while you can. And then one of the major soldiers in my story has a pretty pivotal role. So he ended up getting his own book as well. But long story short, the Changing Earth series is about the Great Quake that shakes our entire globe. And a lot of people are still alive after this incident, but a lot of the infrastructure is gone. So
Okay.
book 1 takes you through like right after the disaster. My female heroine, she is trapped away from her family. She's trying to get back to her family to find out, like, did my family even make it? I love teaching through my fiction. So I try and just put so much survival information in there that's reality, that's usable stuff for people to take and be able to actually learn something. So book 2 picks up 9 years later. I'm actually working on the Las Vegas years, which covers that 9-year gap.
Okay.
That I probably should have ready by prepper camp. It's all up to the editing process now, but that one should be ready by prepper camp this year. But the 9 years later, it's what did the government do? How did we handle this situation of we have all these people, chaos on the streets. Some people lost their homes, some people didn't. Now you have everybody, fighting for scraps and everything. So they basically rounded up the climate refugees and put them into FEMA camps. And then I went, okay, well, we have a ready labor supply here. Our oil supply has been destroyed, but we've got plenty of people just standing around. So they start this adoption program where these families are literally like adopted out to people who have factories or farms, things like that, people who need labor, right?
Mhm.
And then to quell the population, they started the infertilization procedure. So at the age of 13, all of the climate refugees are infertilized. And so obviously, my main character is not very happy with that situation. So she really becomes a Spartacus figure of like, we're going to go back to the Constitution. We're going to lead people back to freedom, back to the Constitution that made us all equal. And obviously, the new government structure is not very happy with that activity. So that's
Right.
where my main bad guy comes in, TJ Swenson. He's a bounty hunter. And they want the narrative, they don't want to make her a martyr. They want the narrative controlled. So
Okay.
let's get this family, bring them in, and whoop, so that we can just, put it to rest. But Erica's not so easy to break and ends up changing him as he's trying to change her. And so that's where it goes, just crescendos up to the end.
Nice. One of the things you mentioned that's awesome is that you try and put the survival like tips and stuff throughout the book. That's so huge. It's funny. I've had, a lot of fiction authors, apocalyptic fiction authors want to be on the show and I'll have them and we'll talk. I actually said that to a guy. I was like, I said, whenever I read anything, I want to have like a takeaway because I feel like I wasted my time if I
Yep.
didn't learn something, whether
Yeah.
it's learn something about history, some great Jefferson quote that changes the way I look at the world, or,
Yep.
something that's a takeaway that I'm like, yeah, I feel better and smarter now that I've done that, or something useful. And the guy's like, no, that's ridiculous. He's like, it's all about a good story. And why would you slow it down? If it doesn't fit the story, I don't bother. And I'm like, dude, you're wasting my time. Like I
Yeah, I've
even
got like that
approached the
butcher.
podcast, yeah, with
Mhm.
that. I'm like, if they
Yeah,
don't have real takeaways that today I learned something I didn't know yesterday, then it was just a waste of time. And who's going to give me their time? Time is
right?
valuable, and
Yeah, yeah. You
so
better be useful. Well, that's my podcast, the Changing Earth podcast. My original podcast I've been doing since like 2016. I take a chapter of the book. We go through it chapter by chapter, and we take the survival lesson out of that chapter and
nice.
expound upon it. So, shelter building, how to butcher, herbal healing, leadership skills, communication skills, all kinds of stuff. We go through it piece by piece. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I try to just load people up. I mean, it's not like overwhelming or anything,
Right, right.
like, oh, this is boring now because we're getting a lesson. It's just she's climbing up the mountain. Her horse got shot. Are you going to leave all that meat there? I mean, I know I don't want to eat a horse either. I
Right,
get it.
right. They're like,
People are
"No,
like,
I
oh,
loved it. I
oh,
loved that horse. I can't."
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. But also, you're starving,
yeah,
and the people around you are starving, and you have a whole pile of meat sitting there. You're not going to do something with it. But do you know what to do with it? Because if you do it wrong, you can contaminate that whole product
yes.
and hurt everybody. So,
Yeah.
it's really important to know those skills. You can't just, oh, when the apocalypse happens, I'm going to the woods. I'm going to get
Go
me a
hunt.
deer.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you got to yourself a deer. And now you ate tonight. Do you know how to preserve it?
Yeah.
Or you're just going to let it sit there and rot? Or what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So,
No, there's that movie Into the Wild where he bags that moose or whatever at the end. I don't know, some whatever. It's a story. Guy goes hunting out in Alaska, or he goes to live in Alaska on his own, and he's like starving to death, and he
uh-huh.
ends up getting a moose or whatever. And it's just he's trying to preserve it, and the flies are coming in and everything, and he's just
Right.
desperate and just like, I know I'm ruining it, and it just it just ends bad. It's tragic. There's another one of the one of the I like Lights Out, or one of those EMP ones, the one I think by the one of the more mainstream books.
Oh,
They
forcing,
Yeah, I
forcing.
think so. Yeah, they talk about his dog. He's like he gives it to
Yeah.
his neighbors, right?
Yeah.
He's like,
Right. Because you
I can't eat
can't.
the dog, but
I will, yeah, I would be maybe okay with the trade. I
right,
don't know,
right,
right?
and that's it. They're kinda like, "Oh,
Yeah,
how do we?" Because yeah, how do you
yeah,
don't wanna waste, everyone's desperate, and
exactly. You can't let
throughout the
anything go in,
Bible, people get desperate where they're, like, eating each other's kids and stuff, and you're
right?
like there's, like, story after story, and here you're like, "Oh, but the dog, I'm not there yet."
No, I know. We're definitely not there yet. That's where you keep the can of cat food or dog food because you don't ever want to eat that. So if you're down to
That's
that,
your line, right? Yeah,
yeah, like you've put it off as long as possible ever. So
nice,
yeah, yeah.
nice. And then so the series, how does it keep going? Like, where do we end up?
Well, I don't want to give away spoilers,
Alright,
but
so it's
Earth,
just the
the
starter, and we get
yeah.
there, and then,
The
okay,
Earth
that's
is
there.
the constant antagonist.
Mm,
So, the earthquake is not just done, you
okay,
know? So, we start seeing more eruptions, and then we have no more sunshine, and at the whole time, society is still scrambling to try and produce a normalcy, we're all the normalcy bias. So, we're all trying to like, "Okay, we're just gonna set it up and live like this now." And then the warring factions are still going because 'cause you're fighting over resources and everything. So no spoilers allowed, but,
alright,
yeah,
fair
yeah, yeah.
enough.
There we go.
Now the other thing though, one of the things that made your book stand out and make it kinda awesome is you guys do it as, like, audio theater, like the drama, and that's so awesome. Like, whenever I always am, like, desperate to find something that's, like, entertaining like that, where it's different people and characters, and it comes to life. I'm a big audiobook fan over reading things. I'm always so disappointed when I have to read a physical book. Like, there's one like Molan Mabe, and some of these old school ones that the original, like, prepper fiction and apocalyptic fiction guys did, that I'm like, I have to just bear through it and
And
whatever,
actually read
and
it.
read
Yeah,
a book because nobody, did, when they're from Boston Tea Party and whatnot, and I'm like, all right, I gotta, but yeah, no.
actually read it. Yeah,
So
the
you have that
Lou.
audio theater, and that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I was kinda disappointed, like, in the audiobooks. It's like, "Oh, boy, we just get to, like, sit here and read it when it's on, Amazon or whatever." And I have this huge podcasting network and now you're included in for all your listeners that you're actually doing characters as well. So thank you.
Exciting. Yep.
And it's turning out cool. I'm putting that together right now. Um, but I was really disappointed. Like we just get to read it, that's kind of lame. And I have this huge podcasting network. I write scripts and whatnot. I'm actually packaging the whole thing, the whole series for Hollywood right now. And I'm just a really impatient person. So I understand it's a marathon and not a sprint. It's going to take time to like actually get there and get it done.
Yeah.
But I'm not patient. And so I was like, I can make the audio drama easily. I can do this. So I started
It's
out
like
with
writing
just
the book twice, right? I mean,
it's
that's
serious amount of work. So I have to write scripts for every single episode. Um, Everybody records their lines individually, right? So I get all those lines in, and then I have to make it sound like it's actually a conversation because trying to get everybody to record at once would just be like, forget it. No way you're aligning those schedules.
yeah.
And so that all comes in. Then you have all the sounds that go with it. And at first, I wasn't putting music to it. And there was like, oh, something is missing, like bad. Right. So now the soundtracks to it are pretty awesome. And it really brings that tone of like, what is the character feeling? I try to pick like lyrics that are matching, like, what's that character going through right now. So the music really gave it that drive to just send it home. And then right now I'm going back through the whole series and we're designing videos for YouTube. I say we, it's the mouse in my pocket. um that so you get like to see a couple scenes from the show,
Mhm.
and so you have something to watch at the same time, so that's pretty neat. It's a lot of fun. So anybody who hasn't experienced the show yet can basically start now. We're in season 2 of the replays for them. We're gonna through season 4 is actually produced and out in the public. Season 2 is spotty right now because as I go through them, I pull them off the air and then re-release them. And then season 5 will probably begin airing for the public at Christmas time. I think I'll be through all of the replays by then, but I'm almost done with. I release it in 4 episode blocks. I'm almost done with those first 4, which you're in, and so that'll be for us subscribers only to either PBN or Changing Earth series,
Mhm.
and it'll be all pre-release material till it officially comes out in December ish. So yeah, it's a fun project. I had so much
Come on.
fun.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours of editing for every minute you hear.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just sounds like a lot of work.
Oh,
That's it. People are always like, "Oh, write a book." I'm like, "Yeah, that
uh-huh,
sounds like fun," but
uh-huh.
I mean, definitely AI is starting to make that world a little bit easier to
Right?
get an assistant, we'll
From
say.
the research
Yes.
aspect of it. Yeah. Like, before, I'd have to pull topo maps and, like,
Yeah.
they're in Las Vegas in my second book is where the refugee camp is in Las Vegas. And
Mhm.
people are like, "Have you lived in Las Vegas?" I'm like, "No, man. I
Yeah.
just studied the topo maps and how would this lay out? What areas would they be able to use? That kind of thing." Now, yeah, AI is making it a little bit easier. You can just be like, okay, they're in Vegas. What would be the best site? They're going on a hike or, escaping somewhere for the day. What's the closest location
That's
that would
pretty
work for them?
cool. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
because I feel like to have that connection with your audience and the details in the past, you had to at least go on vacation to this place or like scope it
yeah,
out and to really know and to be able to bring that in and even have like real data on this is a club people are going to,
yes.
this is a coffee shop that, would be the go-to instead of like, yeah, they went to Starbucks, like, yeah, that's not you
No,
know,
it's so
that's probably
generic.
not what the locals are maybe doing, but I guess everybody's going there now. I don't know how the world works.
Because especially like if you're doing an invasion party or they're defending a certain location, well, you've got to know like what highways are they walking down, what is the structure of that, where's like a zoo or a major place where they would be held up, that kind of thing.
Right.
And you can't just be making this up. If it's, one of my scenes, one of my big fights happens in Denver. Well, everybody from Denver would be like, "Oh no, that's not how it is."
That's not believable. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yeah, you got to bring the reality to that fiction so that it stays within their realm of understanding.
No, I like
Mhm.
it. I like that a lot. The yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Mark Goodwin. All his books, they're kind of like
Okay.
religious heavy. He has Days of Noah, um, like
Uh-huh.
that. I don't know, some other like that. And that was like one of his first ones, and I don't know. It's very biblical based and into that theme, but he really like catches a good bit of the community and kind of, you know, the small towns, and people are like, "Oh, what? There's a book in that town? That's my town. I want to check it out." And like you said, then they hold the author accountable, and then
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, and if you lose that feeling, that connection, I think you heard it in a small way for that very small group of people, but I don't know, you wanna be
Right.
authentic, right? I
You
mean,
do. You
that's
do.
the
It's like
connect.
I put in details about firearms into one book.
Mhm.
And The Walls of Freedom. It's one of my favorite ones I wrote. But I put like, okay, what guns are they actually shooting and stuff? You cannot believe what you hear back.
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, 9/11 wouldn't blah, 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 and it wouldn't do that, and they don't take the same ammo and da, 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 blah, 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 blah." I'm like, okay, in the future,
I
they're
got it.
shooting a rifle.
Yeah,
And you can
a
put
rifle.
whatever
I don't know
you
what
want.
rifle,
Yeah,
it might
whatever
be black.
your little
Wait,
yeah,
yeah,
whatever you're envisioning, that's what they have in their
that
hand. Way to go.
exactly, and it works just the way you think, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
smart. It's funny, there's, I guess one of the popular TV shows now is, that Tracker. And like
Mm.
the first 3 or 4 episodes, you watch them hold a gun and shoot, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so bad." And
Ugh.
then but now, like, I don't know what season, maybe 2 or 3 or wherever the heck they are, it's like night and day difference watching them like, hold a gun and whatever, and I'm like, "Oh," like, now it's
Yeah.
kinda believable for me that he might actually hit something and, whatever.
Well, that's how it goes as, like,
Yeah,
seasons progress. That's really why I had to go back and, like, repolish my audio drama because the difference between when I started and when I'm at season 5
and what you know
is
now,
just, like,
right.
crazy. So I wanted to make sure that people listening to season 1 were having the same experience when they were listening to season 5, you know? So, yeah, more time in, but in the
Like,
long run, oh,
it's
sick.
worth
And
it,
I
right,
love to
when it
watch it come alive.
connects.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we met at prepper camp this year. Tell me about that.
Woo! Prepper camp this year. Okay, so last
Last
year,
year, I guess, yeah.
every single roof that I own was ripped off. Yeah, my house in Texas, right? My shed, hail damage, and then we go to prepper camp, and so for people who don't know, Orchard Lake Campground is beautiful. Okay, it's
Yep,
gorgeous lake, but it is giant pine trees
yep.
like everywhere. And that hurricane came in, and we're in a 19-foot trailer
Yeah,
as that thing's just whipping around us. I prayed all night long, and my son's over, like, we have the bunks, so it's like the
mhm,
2 bunk system, and all I could think of was tree coming down and pancaking my boy. Right, that's all I was just like,
yeah.
I had a nightmare. And I woke up, I was like, I went and got him. I'm like, "You're in bed with us." My oldest
Stay
son,
close, I gotta protect you,
yeah.
yep,
I'm like, "If we're gonna die, we're going together."
it
Like,
was
that's it. End of story. And, my only saving grace was, like, we had our trailer, and then we had the car, parked next to it that my friend from Australia was sleeping in, and then we had our truck kinda squared out front, and then my friend Doug, his truck was squared out front too, so I was like, well, if a tree comes down, like, what's the chance that the mass of vehicles sitting here would protect us and, like, save us? I don't know the reality of that, but praise the Lord. I believe that it was just a mass amount of prayer that put the bubble over Orchard Lake Campground.
yeah, no, that
My
campground
yeah,
stayed pretty great. It
my
was
friend, was in her tent. She got a tap on the shoulder from her guardian angel at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and she decided, no, I got to leave this spot.
Okay.
Only 2 trees came down on that whole property, and 1 came down right where her tent was,
Wow.
and she
Yeah,
was
that's awesome that
yeah,
she
yeah, that it
that's
was like,
crazy.
"Hey, hey," and the
Oh,
move to your vehicle, right? So, praise the Lord, everybody was safe.
yeah.
You wouldn't even know the
No,
amount of chaos that was, like, all around us going
that's
on,
it. Yeah. It was like, "Oh, the
right?
power's out, but they're still running
Yeah, so
water. It
we're
was
good.
still
What?
we were good."
Yeah,
You know,
and
you're
then, my friend hooked me up to the Skylink or whatever,
Yep,
I always
yep.
get the name wrong, and, my phone just blows up from my mom. Just so everybody knows, you couldn't get through on anything
No,
without that Skylink, right?
anywhere in Helene, yeah.
No
Was
texting, no calling, everything was shut. So that is a good reason to have that. And my mom was very thankful that I could get a hold of her, you know.
Yeah.
So my husband and I were just talking about it this morning, actually. Then even once everything kind of calmed down, the meat bees came out.
Yeah.
The bees were insane because they were all flooded out of
Yep.
their
Yeah, they're
homes and
all
everything.
yeah.
It was like the next plague on top of the plague, you know?
Yep.
Like, it was a nightmare in and of itself. I try to teach my self-defense class, people are getting stung and everything. I'm just like,
Yeah.
"This is
No,
crazy."
it was brutal.
So, long story short, all the rippling and a branch came down on top of the trailer. So, the trailer also had to receive a new roof
Oh,
last year.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, like, that's one of the things. So I'm in North Carolina also, and well, like prepper camp. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm surrounded by pine trees. Like my
Were you
whole
in a tent
house is
or oh, okay,
so
you
I
actually
was
have a
in a
tent?
tent there at prepper camp.
Okay, you were in a tent,
But I
yeah.
showed up
In
like
Tent
they
City
postponed
or,
the
like,
first
at
day.
the
No, I was right in
vendor
like
area?
yeah, in the vendor area.
Oh, okay, vendor area, yeah.
Do you know where Ty was kind of up like over there? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know,
I got flooded out
the
there.
ham guy, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
uh-huh.
But
Oh, okay, so you're over there. Okay, I got it.
yeah,
Yep.
but so yeah, no, we were good. I got like a good spot early in because I showed up pretty early, like Friday afternoon. I guess like we were supposed to get there Thursday maybe, and like at
Oh,
the
yeah.
last minute,
Oh,
it's
you're
like, well, yeah,
lucky.
so you had to leave early. I'm
Rick
only
the
4 hours.
told me, like, "You get
Right,
there on Thursday. You're
right.
set up for
Yeah,
Friday."
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I left. I live 4 hours away about, and
Okay.
so I left like Friday morning, and so like I'm
Oh,
still
man.
driving through rain and crazy, but not the crazy that was Thursday. You
Yeah,
know, that was,
fair.
and that's it. Like except
So
everything
you
kind of
came
got
in
worse. Yeah,
after the storm.
yeah, technically yes.
Wow. And you
Yeah,
made it in,
and
which is
barely. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, but
which is in
then
itself.
like that was thing. I'm coming in and where gas ran out was like
Yeah.
there's no power like
Yeah.
100 miles away, and you're like, oh, but there'll be power in the next town or the next town.
No,
No, it was it. You
no.
just hit that line and that was it. And it was
Yeah.
like all at once, like everything's good, and then now it's not.
No, it's not.
And
Yeah, it's so
yeah,
true.
and we're like, well, there's got to be something somewhere. And I'm like rolling in on like fumes and stuff, and
Oh,
yeah,
oh, no.
it
Don't
was
even
bad.
say it aloud. One of the rules of prepper camp, you better never have an empty tank. That's like the worst hazing ever. If
Oh,
you
it's
got
horrible.
come in
Yeah.
on the empty tank, man, you're done. We had
And
like
one of the guys there was like, "I got you. I
oh,
got
yeah,
it. Don't worry
see?
about
He's
it."
like,
And
"Oh,
I'm
don't
like,
worry about it. I got
"Saved
my
my life."
auxiliary tank." Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm the prepper guy, and I'm on it, and no, not so
No.
much, right?
No, I yeah, screwed the
But
pooch
you
there.
didn't think it would be that far forever.
You
I'm
you
like,
know,
"There's no way."
we even import the disasters for prepper camp. Like, we're gonna
Yeah,
get you ready.
it was brutal,
It
and
was brutal, I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so we're looking forward to prepper camp this year. I have a
Yeah.
tent, a booth kinda thing to set up, and then, I believe I'm still a speaker this year. I
Yeah, yeah,
talked to it communication is sometimes tough with, Rick. I don't know. I'll get
yep,
in
yep.
trouble, but
Gotta stay on point. Yep.
and yeah. So, but yeah, no, as far as I know, it's all good and I'm speaking and that's the thing. And I got my thing set up. So we're definitely looking forward to it. I was
Yes, well,
surprised. Quite a few people who like listen to the show, were there and they're like, "Oh yeah, I came and you said," and I was like, "Cool, that's awesome."
that's awesome, yeah.
To
Yeah, I,
connect with people.
went out there year 1 just selling books and stuff. We
Mhm.
had a lot of rain that year as well,
Yeah.
and like I said, we got flooded. We were floating in our on our air mattresses.
Yeah.
So next year I was like, "Oh, we're getting a trailer."
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's a little bit of glamping,
Yeah.
and I'm not usually that person, but understand my trailer is basically just like a glorified tent, and my husband doesn't even allow us to use the bathroom in there because he doesn't wanna deal with any of that,
I
right?
don't blame him,
So
right?
it's like, here's a nice bed to sleep in. That's what my trailer is because
Yeah.
it's long days.
Yeah.
And, then so I was out there year 1. Then Rick asked me to come and teach self-defense
Nice.
on year 2. And what else can you teach, So I did, urban survival, like, rules for urban survival. And, he comes down to watch my class, and here I am teaching people how to do, like, the ear ear cup, eye gouge, everything, like he's like, "Alright, yes." So, now I'm teaching anti-kidnapping and anti-sexual assault class, which
Nice.
is super near and dear to my heart. I obviously am a woman. I don't wanna see any woman be a victim.
Right.
There are super easy things you can do to annihilate, people, and it doesn't take strength. It doesn't take, it just takes a little bit of technique, and it takes confidence.
Yeah.
And so the more that I can instill that in people and protect these young women, like, that is God working through me, and I know it's God working through me because the devil is on your back the whole time. It is a very emotional, class to do. You hear insane stories
Yeah.
after the class is
That's what
done.
I imagine.
That'll
That's
help
like the
you.
is yeah, you
Yeah,
get all these stories from, "Well, this
right.
happened to me or my mom or my
This happened
sister."
to my daughter.
Yeah.
She went to a pool party by herself. They injected her with the
Oh,
date
wow.
rape. Literally
Wow.
walked up behind her. And
Wow,
so I mean,
that's insane.
just the amount of stories that you hear, but
Right.
that is all just the content that I can bring to the next class to help the next individual. So that's what I'm all about. And that's, my Hollywood drive is not about oh, I want to make a lot of money or I've never been about money. I've been podcasting for 16 years. Obviously, I'm not about money. I'm all
Okay.
about, I want to teach people. I want them to do better. I want them to remember this. I want them to be prepared. I want to have prepared people to make prepared communities, and I don't
Right.
want victims. So, my whole drive to get my material to Hollywood is so that I can travel and teach my classes. And I
Nice.
don't want to have to charge people for
Right.
that information. How
Right.
can you go into like an inner city where they're the most vulnerable and be like, "Oh, well, yeah, it's gonna cost you a couple grand to have me." No,
Yeah.
no, I don't wanna have to do that.
100
So
bucks person, and all these people don't have to pay their bill, and yeah.
right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just can't in good conscience, like, roll
Right.
up and be like, "I wanna teach you this information, and you're gonna have to pay me to do it." I wanna be able to give that to people who need it. If you looked at the Epstein list and, like, the
Yeah.
girls that were most vulnerable and most victimized, they were all from these really hard situations, these really
Yeah.
hard neighborhoods, these really broken families, and they don't have the money to pay somebody to learn that information.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
I actually hooked up, way back, it's probably about 10 years ago with, we were dealing with, like sex trafficking stuff and going in and rescuing people. And, I'd heard
Amen,
some
brother.
Beck or whatever, and then got in touch with them. And then they're like, "Oh, come on out to Texas. We're training people to go into other countries and get trafficked victims and whatever." But they brought us out and they're like, "Oh, we'll teach you all this cool tactical stuff and first aid and all this different stuff." But then it was like a million. They had, I think, like 5 different girls that had been trafficked. And we're like, "This is what happened. This is how my story played out. And you kind of get that connection and you see how it plays out. And, and it's, like, terrifying, and
It's
you're just like
terrifying.
and you see how it can happen, like,
Yeah.
'cause you're like, "Well, why don't they just walk away? Why don't they just"
No.
and,
Yep.
and it just,
You get wooed in, and then you're just told these things, you're built
and
up at the
yeah,
start, and then you're just hammered down, and they just got you. They
and
got
and then yeah,
so, TJ Swenson in my book, I was actually studying, Tim Ballard and what he was
yep,
working on, and, yeah, it was just heartbreaking, like, learning the whole population of the United States is enslaved in the world. And it's like,
Yes.
wait a minute, everybody told us that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
What is
And
going
it's
on here?
everywhere.
Right?
Right. And
Yeah,
it's
it's everywhere. It's not like, oh, it's over there. No, it's here in our country.
in our
And
country
so,
and insane in other countries and just,
right.
yeah.
So
It
that's where TJ Swenson came from.
was,
My
yeah.
bounty hunter is that human trafficker. He
Mm,
is that guy.
mm,
And he's hard. And he's hard to for some people to take, right?
yes.
Like he is a turn off to a lot of people and I get it. But he lets you know we live in this world where we have
That's
this
evil. Yeah.
false sense of security.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
minute the rules go down, the minute our sheepdogs stand back and let things happen, is the minute these guys get power.
Yeah.
And that's a scary day. I'm a tough gal. Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah, you're done.
not going for that, huh?
Done. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
no. So
you
that's
know,
why he came around and, why I always kinda and then his story, I did his origin story,
mhm.
and he was actually human trafficked as a kid to
Oh,
be
yep.
brought into this
I
world,
know, it's weird, and you
right?
see that connection play out, and you're like,
Yeah,
"How? You
yeah.
knew how horrible,"
Yep,
and
but
it's
that became
just
his world,
but that's yeah, and
right?
that's, kids who have the abusive dad and then are abusive later, and it's just like, "H how?"
How does the
And then
cycle continue? Yeah.
it's amazing.
And so, maybe a little spoiler, his friend kinda smacks him around and
Nice.
maybe he wakes up one day, but we'll see.
Maybe,
But
maybe
yeah,
not.
that's his story,
There you go. I
and that's
like
why he came about. So anybody who's like, "Oh my gosh, this guy, I don't know, he's too evil." Nope,
Yep.
he's not. He's not. He's a psychological manipulator. Like, he doesn't want to kill you. He wants
Yeah.
to own you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it don't
No,
matter if you're a guy or a girl. He wants to own you and become your god,
I don't know, some things I watch or read and I'm like, "Oh, that hits too close to home. That's too hard.
right?
I can't." And your heart like, it's weird. I'll watch, like, American Sniper, and there's things in there, I'm a veteran, whatever, and you're just like, "Oh, that's hard." Or there's certain war movie I can watch certain war movies, like, all day long, and I'm like, "Oh, that's
No,
great,"
but good. Yeah,
Like
that's
like
cool.
violence and stuff, I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
Uh-huh.
whatever," and then there's some, like, deeper undertones, like just one sentence from a
You're
guy
like,
or something,
"Oh."
I'm like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
risky. That's
that's
not,"
okay.
you know, and
Yeah.
they just connect with you, and it just makes it hard, and you're just like, "Ooh."
So I try to temper him,
Yeah.
I try to keep him he's never mean to children, right? Like, I can't in good
Can't
conscience
get
like
there,
that.
huh?
No.
Yeah.
So, like, he always protects kids, and so it leaves you kinda going, "This guy, like, he just wants order. He just wants to instill an order to this chaos that's going on." That's really his mission. But that's the only way he knows how to do it. It's like, "Look, you just listen to me, and I'll
Do what
control
I
it all,
Yeah.
and we'll be good. Like, what's the problem here?"
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. So if he's a little abrasive,
Well,
everybody hang on, 'cause, you need a little dose of it now and again.
that's it. So
Remember.
what I'm hearing though is everybody needs to sign up and get tickets to go to prepper camp so they
Yes,
can meet
for
you
sure,
and come
for
check it
sure.
all out. I know
Right
last
now
time
they're
you
cheap.
had yeah, and last time you had some discounts for your book series when people went to prepper camp
I
and
do,
they were
and they're
able
all
to get
fine.
like big bundles and yep.
Yep,
So a
I
lot
got
of
my
cool things.
bag, water bottles, all the goodies are out
For
there,
the
yeah.
swag, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. I know this year, like you said, last time I did sleep in a tent on the ground, and like I
Uh-huh.
said, we were, um, I made the smart play, although I had mentioned to you, I think my wife is reluctant to try it again. But
It was a hard
it,
year.
I did buy a tent that actually sets up in the bed of the pickup.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And so I think that's gonna be the dream. I actually
Uh-huh.
haven't even set it up yet because I'm like, I gotta get to it, and I keep, like, going
Make
back to
sure
it.
the
I'm
air mattress, like,
like, yeah,
stays
it's got
inflated,
it all, it's just
Yep.
yep, we
Yep.
got I'm so ready, so we just gotta pull it off, so definitely it's gonna be good this year, and that's the
Yeah.
thing, like, prepper camp's awesome because you have ham radio, you have the self-defense classes,
Oh,
I do an EMP class, all the
there's
different
there's
things.
rifle classes, there's, like, the entry classes, I mean,
Right.
obviously, there's no shooting there, but everything you want to know about how to move and whatnot. All the herbal classes, like the
Yeah.
silver, the mushrooms, all the
Yep.
not magic mushrooms or anything
Oh,
like
not that. No, it's not the
that.
hippie,
No, no. They're the beekeeping and the
yeah.
blacksmithing. My little son, he's 13 now. We've been going for 5 years now straight.
Nice.
And he's like in all the classes. He's soaking up all the info. You'd think this kid
Yeah.
would be bored out of his mind. Now there's the
It
pond,
it's
there's fun, and
and
yeah.
that's the thing is there's great people there too. It's
Oh,
like there's so
so
many like even if you just hang out talking from booth to booth with, the different people, there's so many people and they're so knowledgeable. And
yeah,
if they're there, it's because they're people who love to share their knowledge and are excited about it and passionate about,
yeah.
sharing this
And the
stuff.
crowd, even the crowd, you learn so much just from the
Yeah,
crowd that's there.
that's
Uh,
it. People who are committed like that they're going to
yeah,
prepper camp, they're somebody who's
yeah.
all in,
And
and that's
well, we've got the new ones too. We've got like these young kids showing up,
yeah,
and I seen like these yuppies, like with their pearl necklaces, everything, all with their purses, everything. I was like, yeah, all
that's it.
right, get in on it, man. Everybody has insurance, right? You wouldn't have a house without insuring it, right?
There
I
you
mean,
go.
you got
Plan
a
your
spare
life that
tire
way.
in your trunk, don't you? Everybody's a prepper in some way. Just how
Yeah.
ready do you want to be?
Unless you don't bring in extra gas to prepper camp, that's the
Well, I mean, shh, I won't tell anyone if you don't.
it's like, "Man,
My
really
secret.
save me here." It's a little awkward. I was saying, like, I was ecstatic that I only had to wait 2.5 or 3 hours in line for gas when I
Fair.
got to, like, in Ingles, and the whole time you're like, "It's gonna run out. It's gonna run out
Oh,
before I get
I
there,"
know.
and
We literally, because we had the trailer.
yeah. Oh, yeah, so you're
And
really
so
using
we were scouting it with the van. Luckily, a couple of my friends went out before us and like gave us the route. But we couldn't get the trailer around that first. There was this big old thing of branches coming out. So we're trying to get the guys to get their chainsaws. There, I'm doing this or that or whatever. We went up with hand saws,
Yeah,
literally cut our way through that stuff so we could get. There's
crazy.
80 other trailers trying to come out behind us. If one of us gets stuck, we're all screwed.
Right, right, and that's you had
So
mentioned, no cell phones and whatever, but
yeah,
people don't think we all have our maps, right?
right.
And we're in it on our phone, and
Yes,
we're in an area we've never been. I must have went down
I
5
keep
different
my map.
roads
I keep
trying
it.
to get out.
I got the book
You
even. Yeah,
gotta have the paper. Yeah, but,
yeah.
like, if you cover a bigger area, you don't have those little back roads. They're
No,
not
it's true.
there.
It's
And
true.
and that was the biggest thing was, like, we couldn't every turn we made, like, we hit
Was
the
like,
South
nope. Then you
Carolina
got to go
border.
turn
They were like,
around.
"Nope, turn it
Yep.
around."
Oh, you made it down to the border.
Yeah,
The back
oh,
way.
yeah, back way. And they
Oh,
were
I'm
like, "Nope." It
impressed.
was right at the line. They were like, "Nope."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
got the tough truck, but I don't have the gas. I can
Right.
only go so
Right.
far. I can
We
only make so
we
many
were
wrong
on like
turns." Yeah,
3/4 tank. My husband's pulling the
yeah.
trailer.
It's
So
terrifying. Yeah,
lines, just crazy lines.
yep.
We made it. We finally made it down like well into South Carolina, and
Wow, that's
I've
crazy.
never seen so crazy on the highway when we were driving out with like they just bulldoze stuff
Yeah,
just
to the
into
side. Yep,
piles on the side with the trees just cut off right there. Like that was insane. It was an
it
adventure though, whatever.
sure, yep,
I think if I hear there's a hurricane coming in, I will probably adhere to the wisdom of my friends who live in Louisiana and get those hurricanes all the time and said, "Hey guys, you might not want to go." And I went anyway. And I was like, "Oh, bring it,
yeah,
mustard seed of faith. We're going to make it through this." And we did.
exactly.
Amen.
No,
Uh,
it
but
worked out great,
and
but
and I wouldn't have traded the experience. Like
yeah, that was
Rick
neat.
and Jane and
Yep,
Chin, and there's just I don't get to see them enough.
right.
And
They're
so
such great
that's
people,
it.
and they choose the best people to
Yeah.
be around, and, everything
Right.
that you're happening there, it just
I
is
told 'em I'd be there no matter what,
right.
you know?
It's people who care about the mission, right? And that's what matters, and
Yeah.
that's why it's awesome. So, yeah,
Everybody's like, "Oh, they're making money." What? No, they're not. No, they're not. It's like my audio drama.
Yeah.
They put all that energy into it all year long
Yeah.
to provide God's work.
Yep. No, that's right. So preppercamp.com for that.
Prepper
Where are
Camp,
they going for all your stuff? Where are we buying that stuff?
ChangingEarthSeries.com. Everything is ChangingEarthSeries.com, and then if you whatever you want is from
It'll
there.
take
So
you
if
where
you
you
want
need
to
to
check out like
go.
my
Nice.
podcast where I do the survival fact and fiction, it's there. If you want to check out the Change Earth audio drama, got links there. All my social media. It's just I made it the hub. You can buy signed copies there, and the ebooks, everything. ChangingEarthSeries.com.
Nice. I got it in the show notes. And yeah, no, so you guys are awesome. So Sarah, thank you. I appreciate having you out here.
Thank you for volunteering to do some of my crazy characters. I'm always looking for voices, so I really appreciate your time with that.
That's it. No, I appreciate it. So with that, stay safe and we will talk to you guys next week. Just next week.